together, close like family. You and me, we can make the world shine bright with love. Get 10% off major appliances like refrigerators, washers, and dryers.
Prep for Memorial Day weekend at Lowe's with store-wide savings. Get 10% off major appliances $399 and above. Lowe's, never stop improving. Valid through 5/22. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Forget not your child in my time of need. This weakness and vain.
People are confused. Just need to love God stronger. Do I love God more? Do I love me more? I call it the street Jesus.
Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path. We're coming to you from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. It's good to be with you.
Or creepily through zeros and ones through livefromthepath.org. We travel a lot of ways.
I don't think that's creepy. That's a normal way to go about.
I like to call it digital taxi. No one is really on board with it, but that's what I'm going with.
I think you keep saying that. It'll catch on.
You're darn right it will.
I've really invested everything I have in digital taxi.
It's charging the money that I'm having a hard time with. Al Gore gives it away for free.
I say we make t-shirts.
All right. Hey, welcome to Live from the Path. We're talking about honest faith, fierce grace, and sometimes donkeys, because you can love Jesus and talk about donkeys. Anybody that tells you different is a creeper.
Or probably hates donkeys when we don't even want to know them anyway.
Here's the deal: is if you spend your effort hating a donkey, I feel like it's not worth my time to haggle with you.
Did I tell you that was the reason I was going to ever purchase a donkey? Because here's what I figured: is like donkeys are known as universally stubborn animals that really like bring their stubbornness out at the worst possible time. And so what I figured is that no matter what's going on in my life, like a bum time at my job, or the kids are giving me the roast or whatever, I'll walk outside and there will be a donkey in front of my car before I leave to work, and I'll think, I will be no matter at anything else in my life than that donkey right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's basically my life punching bag.
Yeah.
Like, not that I will physically accost the donkey, but I thought all my frustration can be concentrated on the donkey because he will not move because I need to go to work.
And he doesn't care.
He doesn't
look
care.
at you like,
no, he
yeah,
doesn't.
whatever.
You know, he's just, I mean, I can yell at him, scream at him. I can kick dirt in his way and say, you know, nudge him with the car. He still ain't going to move.
He'll just say,
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I thought, I've got to get...
Oh, what was that second sound?
He's a Laurel and Hardy donkey.
He's complacent. He's just complacent with his place in life.
He's a special kind of donkey.
He's not going to give you a full-on eon.
But, you know, I thought there's because it'll happen at inopportune times. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the worst possible time for that donkey to block my car or eat my mirror, like, it'll be when I'm at my most frustrated, and I will be able to take it out on the donkey.
That's actually a common anger situation that they talk about with getting rid of your anger. There's a book that's out. It's called The Cow in the Parking Lot.
Really?
And the concept is you're pulling into the parking lot and you see the best place, the best parking spot in the whole place, right up front. It's right next to the door, exactly where you want to park. Not a handicap place.
Oh, I was going to say, and it's a handy.
No, it's not a handicap place. You can park there. And you pull up and you're racing, you win the race, and there's a cow. And the cow is in the parking spot, and it will not move.
Like a Kawasaki?
No, like a cow, a bovine animal. So a cow is in the parking spot. Are you honestly going to get mad at this cow? And even if you get mad, what is it going to do to that cow? Is the cow going to move? No. So you might as well just laugh about it and go find another parking spot. That's literally the concept of the book.
That is.
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense. I had some cow take a parking spot from me at the Walmart last
Yeah,
week.
it's meant to be literal.
It is that.
Is what I've taken.
It is that kind of passive, Nancy-ish behavior that gets you parking in the back row. I would jump the cow.
You just talked about a donkey sitting in front of your car and you just getting really angry at it, but nothing will happen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I'll feel so much better because all my anger is concentrated on the donkey. You're just trying. You think your anger is just going to float away in some type of mysterious happy bubble.
If I saw a
Which is-
cow
I mean,
in
it's
a
just-
parking
that's
spot
outrageous.
now.
in the middle of like Jordan Creek, I would start laughing at the fact that this cow is just laying in this parking spot.
I might laugh initially, but I mean, doggone it. If he stays there for more than a few minutes and I've been trying to get that spot.
I'd text the cow.
feel like you guys are-
I'd get out my phone and text him.
Hey, you big cow.
Hey, cow.
Rupert,
Hey, can we talk? Hey,
You
man,
know-
you need to move.
get in the handy spot.
You need to move.
We'd go one-on-one, but I don't think you
I
have
did
the
just do
stomachs
that.
for
Thank
it.
you very much.
I actually had that happen to me at work one time. I was heading down to, it was right on the Iowa-Missouri border where you expect these kind of things to happen. And I was delivering something down there, and I was rolling the backwoods to a pipeline plant, and a cow comes out in the middle of the road. And I tell you what, he winked at me. He wasn't going to move, and so I took a picture on my phone of him, and then I texted to a couple people, and I just sat there for 20 minutes while me and this cow, and I thought, I could bump him with this truck, right? But it's a company truck, and it seems wrong. People be like, that company hit my cow. I thought, well, that's not going to work. So I just sat there and stared at him. I thought, when you open a business such as the one I work for, you have to plan for cows obstructing your employees. There's nothing I can do here. The right company move is to sit and stare at the cow, and that's what I did.
Awesome. I had an embarrassing moment once. But I spent most of my life in Des Moines, bigger city. I mean, small city. But anyway, we moved to a small town in Atlantic, and we were probably there about a week. And there were two main roads in the town, and we're pulling up in one of them, and there's a cow in the middle of the road. And I'm thinking, man, that's just dangerous. That I better call the police. So we get home, and I call the police. Now, first of all, I told them the wrong road. Because they're probably thinking, no, the Joneses don't have a cow. It's a small enough town. They all know who lives out there. And secondly, they're like, yeah. I said, no, there's a cow in the road.
I don't think you understand, officer.
Yeah.
There's a large mammal in the road.
I almost hit it. Did you stop? Yeah. Oh, okay.
I feel like our involvement is done.
That was the most awkward
have-
conversation I ever had.
Yeah. What do you want me to do? Write him a citation?
We have exhausted our options now, and have a great day.
Exactly. I wanted to move. It's just like, well, I just ruined my reputation.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
moved here.
It seems like that's where we're at.
It's City Slicker Hudson.
City boy.
Preaches
You
your
knew we had
greased
cows.
gospel.
Watch out, there's corn on the left.
Big City Hudson.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. Here's what we got going on tonight. We're on number 48 from the proofs from GodIsImaginary.com. Basically, he's got the man that owns this website has laid out 50 proofs that says God is imaginary. We've been walking through one by one to see that we can give a defense of the faith. And we're on number 48. 48 is compare prayer to a lucky horseshoe. And so we're going to walk through that one and see if we can provide a defense. And then we only got a couple more. We're almost I suppose we got the 50 plus the 3 bonuses. You can go check those out and go into GodIsImaginary.com, and then also listen to our past shows and kind of see how we handle them. And we'll get through that tonight. Also, we got some advice on Dear Life from the Path. Some interesting stuff in the news. It's not the end of the world, but it might be the end of people that broadcast that it's the end of the world. We'll talk a little bit about that. And that's what we got going on tonight at Life from the Path. You can catch us during the week at lifefromthepath.org. Or, hey, shoot us an email. Here's the deal. Some of you don't like the show. I know that. You're listening to it in your car, and you think to yourself, boy, this is crappy.
Yeah.
This is really junk.
It's understandable.
And I hear you.
We're thinking ourselves.
Yeah. So if you can let me know that. I'd like to be affirmed either way,
Yeah.
And so if you could shoot me an email and say, Dear Ben at info@lifefromthepath.org, I feel like your show is not good. And I'm glad the Lord loves you because I don't care much for your program.
Yeah, include your full name and address. So if we have to make a personal visit to, try to hash this thing out, I'd like to show up with a dog or a donkey, and then leave it as a parting gift.
Remember that time there was that story about that donkey that patrols like a 8-mile area?
In like Wyoming or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
I'd like one of those.
we're gonna let him loose in your neighborhood. He's gonna patrol your place.
Exactly.
Okay. So anyway, that's what we got going on tonight. Feel free to give us an email so we can see how things are going.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for the proof?
I'm ready.
Proof
Let's do
number
this.
48. Compare from GodIsImaginary.com. Compare prayer to a lucky horseshoe. Here it goes. The dictionary defines the word superstition in this way: an irrational belief that an object, action, or circumstance not logically related to a course of events influences its outcome. We've all seen plenty of superstitions. These are the superstitions that a rabbit's foot or four-leaf clover bring good luck. There are the superstitions that breaking a mirror or seeing a black cat bring bad luck. And we all know that these superstitions are silly. A rabbit's foot or a broken mirror has no good or bad influence on the course of events, unless you're the rabbit. This is obvious to any intelligent. That rabbit part was mine. Just an internal dialogue.
Or the mirror owner.
This is obvious to any intelligent person. So let's imagine the following situation. That should have been a full colon. Let's say that you have cancer. You are lying in the hospital after a round of chemo and you feel terrible. A person pops into your room with a bright smile on his face and a horseshoe in his hand, and he says to you, "This is an amazing and lucky horseshoe. If you touch this horseshoe, it will cure your cancer, but I need to charge you $100 to touch it." Would you pay the man $100? Of course not. We all know that touching the horseshoe will have zero effect on the cancer. The belief in lucky horseshoes is pure superstition. How would you know if you never paid the $100? I'm just throwing it out there. Something about it. It is also very easy to scientifically prove that the horseshoe has no effect on cancer or anything else. The way we would do it is simple. We would take 1,000 cancer patients and split them randomly into two groups of 500. We will let 500 of the cancer patients touch the lucky horseshoe, and we will leave the other 500 alone in a double-blind way. Then we would, that's a very scientific thing to say.
Double-blind way.
Then we would look at cancer remission rates between the two groups. What we would find is zero benefit from the horseshoe. We would see no statistical difference between the remission rates in the two groups of 500 patients.
So is he saying he did this, or he's just assuming?
That's how it would be done.
Yeah. If we were to do that, he's assuming. Okay, let's clarify.
Yeah. Okay, here. Then he says, now let us imagine another situation. You have cancer. You have just finished a round of chemo and you feel terrible. This time, a person pops into your room with a bright smile on his face and a Bible in his hand, and he says to you, there is a being named God who is the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-living creator of the universe. I am his representative on earth. If you allow me to pray to God on your behalf, God will cure your cancer. You agree to the prayer, and the man prays over you for 10 minutes. He invokes all the healing powers of God, beseeching him, reciting verses of Scripture, and so forth. Afterwards, as he is getting ready to leave, the man says, "Oh, and by the way, God says that you should tithe 10% of your income to the church. Would you consider making a tax-deductible donation today?" The question is there any difference between the two men? Will the prayer have any effect greater than the horseshoe? The answer is no. The belief in prayer is just as superstitious as the belief in lucky horseshoes. The fascinating thing is that we can prove that prayer has no effect in exactly the same way that we can prove that horseshoes have no effect. We take 1,000 cancer patients, we pray over them, blah, 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 blah. In other words, we can prove that the belief in prayer is pure superstition. The belief in the power of prayer is no different from the belief in the power of lucky horseshoes. These experiments have been performed many times, and they always return the same results. Quite simply, prayer has absolutely no effect on the outcome of any event. The power of prayer is actually the power of coincidence. Belief in prayer is pure superstition. Prayer has absolutely no effect in every scientific experiment we perform because God is imaginary. Panel, discuss amongst yourselves.
That wasn't even a very good example. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, here's the deal. Maybe from his outside point of view, that is the way that the bride of Christ normally acts. Now, granted, there is parts of the bride of Christ that will act that way. But frankly, like I would rather see the man with the Bible in his hand say, "Can I pray for you for God's influence on your life?" You know, that whether it be the healing of your cancer or the comfort through this time, or, you know, the peace within your family and the family around you, that you'll know who he is, right? Like, you're more, basically when you're praying and you're praying in that situation, you're basically saying, God, let us know that you're here, right? In whatever way you choose, in whatever sovereign way you decide you want to interact in this situation, will you just reveal who you are to us in this situation, right? That is as a more earnest prayer than saying, hey, God is going to do this. There's certain definites that you can pretty much bank on as revealed throughout the Bible as the character of God. He will do this. There's not a lot of those, right? Like I'm real hesitant on saying God's going to do just about anything. I know what he's already done. And so I can going forward say, look, I know that God has already sent his son to die for you. I know that he loves you to the point where he was willing to come down to this earth filled with people who have rejected him and suffer at their hands because of his love for you. And I know he's going to forgive you of anything that you've done if you want to turn back and be in relationship with him. Those are all things that have happened and will continue to happen. But like what God is going to do in a certain situation, can you imagine what a boring read the Bible would be if you could guess? Like, there's some real wowzers in that Bible. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where you're reading along, you're like, and then a finger came out of nowhere and began to write on a wall. I didn't see that coming, you know? Like, if someone would have said, "Hey, can you pray that a finger comes out and begins to write on the wall, telling me that that the king is,
Are you using my flatware?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was, wasn't it?
you know, like you
Put
have been
down my
found
goblet."
wanting. I'm going to topple your kingdom. I don't know that I can really hit the knees and go, okay, God, here's what they're after. You know, like I wouldn't have prayed for that. And I mean, his setup where he's describing the Christian in this, or the follower of Christ in this example, is either a very shallow follower of Christ or pretty much a scam artist that wants your money.
Yeah, he seems to be describing a scam artist, and he's basically saying God is imaginary because I don't believe in prayer. That's his argument this time, which has been multiple times.
I was going to say we should go through and actually count how many prayer proofs there have been, because I'm actually quite interested to hear that.
Yeah, even the ones that the title doesn't mention prayer, they end
They
up being
break
about
down
prayer.
about prayer. Yeah,
It
exactly.
boils down to he doesn't believe in prayer, therefore it doesn't work, therefore God's imaginary. And actually, I think you could find some studies that say prayer does work.
Let me ask you this. I mean, let's say God did not permit prayer, right? He made no promises or auspices that he would listen to you. Does that make him not God?
No.
No. That's just something he's allowed us to have.
And now, except for the fact that it would be different if the Bible were as it were, and then God didn't listen to prayer.
Right.
That would be different,
Yeah.
because that would make him disingenuous, right?
Right.
But if say you were to posit a God of the universe who simply said, "You're not talking to me.
Yep.
I set this thing in motion. I provided you some information. Please deal with it yourselves. I'll see you on the flip side." Now, I'm not sure that's a God I'd be all that encouraged to worship, but he could still be God.
Right.
Let me ask you this. You're a sound man, a sound engineer, a technician, so to speak. If you turn a knob on the soundboard and you're fully expecting to hear something come out of the speakers, and then you don't hear something come out of the speakers, do you assume there really are no speakers, or do you assume there must be some connection that is messed up between that knob and the speakers?
Yeah, I would say connection problem.
Yeah, so then you start looking at the connections, then you fix connections, and lo and behold, it still works.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing with prayer. Usually there's something we're not connecting well. There's something, maybe there's sin in our life, maybe it's wrong motives, maybe God in his sovereignty says, yeah, that's a stupid prayer. I'm not going to put a finger on your drywall wall. I did that once, and it was Babylon.
I don't care. I don't care how much.
It is Babylon. I'm not doing it again.
I'm done with that one.
I don't care how much Bruce wants to see it. I will not be writing on your garage.
So because this guy, let's say he did do this test and had 500 people. That doesn't mean God's going to answer 500 of the prayers and to prove himself. He doesn't have to prove himself to anybody. He already is.
Yeah, exactly. This is yet another situation where he has painted God as the genie in the lamp.
Yes.
So that's all it is you rub the lamp, say, God, this, and it happens. And that's exactly what we're to expect. Nothing about his will where it needs to be. Nothing about us being obedient servants. We have things we ask for, obviously. Prayer is our connection to God. However, he's not in any way taking into account the fact that we need to align ourselves with God's will and what we're asking for. And if God wills it, then it's going to happen. If it's God will that cancer gets healed, the next day that person will be completely healed. We all have faith in that, at least here, knowing wholeheartedly that if we pray that and it's in God's will, that's how it goes. It's not just I have every bit of faith in my heart that my phone is going to turn into a brand new smartphone. If God doesn't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. God's not a genie. God's not a servant. He is there. He is the all-knowing God of this universe, and we are here to obey him, not the other way around.
He doesn't believe in the horseshoe. His problem in both scenarios is he has no faith in it, right?
Right.
Here's the deal. If you really thought, he's posing a situation in which, like, God wants to, really wants to make that guy happy, right? Like, if only Dave will believe in me, so I will answer this so that he will love me. That's
all I want.
I mean, that's kind of what he's proposing. He's that he would come down and he would show me who he is.
Right.
I feel like that I don't want to be on the other end of that.
Yeah, I don't want to be Dave where I'm just like, well, I'm Dave. God, you cater to me. And I'm just like, oh, that's not a sentence I would use.
I feel like
That's going to be an awkward meeting. He
I
has
feel
his
like
last
we heard one
breath.
of those in Job, possibly, just kind of.
And he opens his eyes, and there's Jesus, and he's like, crap. I mean,
Aw.
how's that going to go? We need to pray for this guy.
Sometimes
I am.
sometimes that stuff's hard though. Like they don't. you don't look at it in from God's perspective to even start, right? Like knowing the mind of God is impossible. But like even from a logical human standpoint, if I look at God and I see a guy who has cancer, and I know if I cure that cancer, it's not going to bring you any closer to being in relationship with me, and the ultimate goal is to bring you in relationship with your Savior so you can spend eternity with Him. Why would I do that? Why would I do something that's not good for you?
Right.
Like your scale of micro and macro effects on your life, you don't get to see the macro, right? You live in the micro. God lives in the macro. He sees what happens to you and what will draw you in closer relationship to Him. And so if you pray and you pray and you pray, and He knows when that cancer goes away, you're going to dive off the deep end, deny His existence, and not live for God or become in relationship with Him. Why would He do that for you, right? That's way more of a harm eternally than the cancer that you're suffering now. That doesn't make cancer any less a terrible thing to go through. And don't be fooled to think that God's heart is not with you in the effects of sin in this world on you, right? It's not lost on Him. But like how that gets resolved in a closer relationship with Him, He will do things that will bring Him glory and you joy, and never you glory and Him joy. That you got that flipped around. It has to be Him glory and honor, and you get the joy of being in a relationship with a God like that. And if that means that you don't get cured from cancer so you can know Him more, then He's doing you a favor that you see in a very macro level, micro level.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, our problems are we know them in the scope that we're able to look at them, but generally, they're not our forever problems. Those will not be around forever. God sees the forever picture that we do not see, and luckily He is sovereign and He is God, and He's able to see that and reacts and takes action accordingly. And any decision I make is limited to my perspective. So, all right. Well, that was proof number 48. Let's look at 49 as we round the home base from GodIsMagic.com. Proof number 49. Here's the opening salvo. Look at who speaks for God. In Christian mythology, that started off good. God is supposed to the all-powerful, all-knowing creator of the universe. I can only read it as He gives it. God is supposed to have incarnated Himself as Jesus, and He is supposed to have written the Bible. And yet today, God is completely and absolutely silent. Therefore, the only thing we hear from God comes from people who are speaking on His behalf. If you would like to understand how imaginary God is, all you have to do is listen to God's spokespeople, because in many cases, these people are lunatics. If there actually were a God, and if He actually had anything to do with love, He would silence these people because they are an absolute embarrassment. Here are several videos that demonstrate the problem. Oh, man, I'm going to have to fire these up next week. Thousands of examples like this are below. There we go. That's it. That's the opening salvo.
Ah, man, he might have. I mean, ultimately, he's going to be wrong. But his examples of poor representations
are probably going to be pretty
They're
good.
probably going to be very good.
Yeah.
We're probably going to embarrass us too.
"Oh,
Don't worry, man.
That's not God is imaginary. That's men are wrong.
Here's the test for
stuff.
Life from the Path next week. We need to attempt to show an example of someone who's not following the Holy Spirit without gossiping or slandering them. And so it'll be a real thin line here at the Life from the Path studios. Please be praying for us,
There may
as
be.
next week it's not our strong suit. Okay,
A bit of silence.
It's not where we tend to excel. And so I'm looking at the list right now. And myself am going to be deep in prayer in attempts not to slander the following men. So, you best be tuning in next week, not only to see how God is going to win this one, but also if Life from the Path can pull it off Job style without a sinful interpretation.
Oh, man.
All right.
Pray on it.
So, yeah, exactly. A lot on our shoulders.
All right. You're listening to Live from the Path. All right. So here's the deal. I was checking out the news this week.
Speaking of embarrassing folks,
Yeah. So in times for Doomsday Linked Radio Network. So dealing with the struggling radio business, this wasn't the way it was supposed to be. By all his calculations, Harold Camping expected to be nearly 2 years into his rapture revelry, hanging in heaven with God and select others who'd been saved. But since he mispredicted the end of the world
Again.
he's having a little trouble keeping his radio station funded. Family Radio, which has been around since 1959, may be floundering. Now, this was the bit of information that I thought was interesting, okay? Financial documents show that Family Radio's assets dropped by more than $105 million in less than 5 years, despite an influx of $85 million in donations over that time, the California newspaper reported. This was during the big push to spread the news. $85 million is what was raised.
I've seen our church budget. It's not quite that.
It's slightly less.
Dan,
Little under.
start making outrageous
Proclaim
predictions.
the rapture.
I got a prediction.
Oh,
I'll share it next week.
I was gonna say.
Unbiblical rapture, 85 million. This, of course, was during the big push, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. The paper also said donations have tumbled nearly 70% since May 21st, 2011.
I don't know why.
Okay, now hold on a minute. What's on the other side of that number? 30% of the people are still donating.
What's wrong with them?
A man who has
that's
falsely
confusing.
predicted the end of the world multiple times. And clearly, Deuteronomy says he's a false prophet.
Yeah.
You predict it when you are wrong. You are not from God because God is not wrong. 3 out of 10 are still giving the money.
I feel like those might be the people that are just like, okay, well, $20 come out of the paycheck. That just comes immediately out of the
Like
bank
they
account.
forgot to cancel
Yeah,
their automatic
they forgot
payment.
to cancel their auto camping renewal.
Hey, Phil, we're still giving money to that guy, Phil.
Yeah, you remember that guy predicting the end of the world? You know how that didn't happen? Yeah, we're still giving money to him.
We
Let's
could go
probably
back
figure
to
that out.
drinking. I really think we should get that money back. Yeah, here's the deal. I actually had a very similar question of how God helps to purge this kind of stuff from his ranks, right? And we're going to look at that next week, but the kind of examples that they're going to give of outrageous claims made by people on behalf of the Holy Spirit, sometimes I wonder, God, why do you even allow this to happen, right? And it seems to me that during this whole the end of times thing, frankly, it was a decent discussion to tell why he's a crazy man. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a Jesus believing fella and this topic came up, because it did, the world may or may not have ended. And if you happen to know Jesus at all, and people know that, they're going to say, "You're not one of those." Are you? That happened to me a couple times, and right?
Yep.
It's a perfect opportunity to share the gospel and point out people that are following it as to not follow those guys, right? And so it was a good opportunity for some witnessing and spreading the gospel, but it also proves that God doesn't put up with that junk forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in this world, he says, that's it. I don't know how I could not affirm your message any more than to bankrupt you and get you off of the air. Yeah.
I'm still completely like laughing at the fact that 30% are still giving. Like, I really want to talk to one of those people. It's just like, okay, why?
We had one of them in. It was a rough conversation.
Steve, yeah.
We tried that prophet thing. You know what I'm saying? We're like, look, he's done this before. It's not right. He was wrong. Isn't he a false prophet? Well, the definition of false prophet, really, it's like Jell-O. You can pour it in whatever mold you want, and we'll see what comes out. And so, I mean, there ain't no talking sense into some people. They're just not having it.
I can't see how that's still going through their mind. Like, well, he's obviously been wrong this many times. What is this, like, well, 7 times the charm kind of thing? It's just like, I don't see the rationale for, okay, so this is a man who has a heart for God is what they're thinking, hopefully, and that's why they're giving money, which they're wrong. It's just
based on his own wizard math.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
based on decoding letters into numbers and then figuring out exactly what that
if there's
means
a tail
for
end to
date-wise.
Revelation that I've been skipping because I've got freaked out, and it says, by the way, it's going to be this and this date, Mike. Heads up. That's something different, right? But like when you
We're
have
just
to
not getting the full thing.
when you have to do some kind of weird string theory and drag a bunch of verses together.
4 divided by Ezekiel 10 and multiply that times Revelation
Noah's
2.
1,000 years is like a day. Well, if we play that out, then
40 days is
that's ridiculous. God, he didn't say to do that. Shouldn't that be the indicator? God did not say to try to. In fact, he specifically said, "Do not do that."
Yeah.
Jesus said, "Do not do
He
this."
kind of basically said, yeah, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
be ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Be ready at all times that it's
Yeah.
going to happen, but don't make that your reason for believing.
I mean, isn't that it? How ridiculous it is that we want to know when it is, because that's why God doesn't want us to know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
He knows how stupid we
That's
are.
the rationale is,
I know
well,
till next
we want to
Friday.
know.
I can
yeah,
do what I want until
exactly.
Thursday.
We want to know when it is, when it ends, so that we don't have to be ready.
That's right.
We go exactly against what God's told us to do, which is be ready for it to happen, so that, hey, I can be a complete footloose and fancy-free sinner running away from the heart of God.
Heck yeah.
Footlooser,
makes
running
me
away
wanna
from the
sing a
heart of
song.
God. I don't have to believe anything, but as long as I'm good by 12:35 on Thursday,
Yep.
I'm set.
I've been footloosing. God, it's Troy. Hit me with the grace. I'm ready to meet.
Yeah, exactly.
This week is finals in high school, and guess how many students haven't started studying yet? Because, well, tomorrow's the test, so they don't study until tonight.
Yeah. Right.
It's because, well, they don't have to.
That's
Now,
a new brand of school, Hudson. I kind of like that. It's the Instapop quiz. I'm going to give you finals somewhere between the first of the semester and the end.
Yeah.
You better be ready.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way to live right there. That happens to you at work, you know? Like, you got to be ready for that
That's
stuff.
called the real world.
Yeah, get
Yeah,
ready.
exactly. Be prepared. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen at any time.
So he's on his way out. I pray that he comes to know Jesus
Yeah, that's
in
all
a
you
more
can do.
healthful way.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can do.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. That number figure
Yeah, 30%.
it stood out to me.
It's almost
Hey,
30
you know
people.
another thing I saw this week that I actually started to irritate me a little is so I watch generally watch NBC, and they're doing promos for a new show called Save Me with Anne Heche, and the premise of the show is that she has a near-death experience, and then somehow now she's like a prophet of God, and it's totally like here's the reason I got irritated. It's because you have the success of the Bible miniseries, right? And every couple of years, they come out with some kind of like Christian themed sitcom or whatever that's got some Jesus thing in it. But like it comes from, it obviously is based upon a group of people that are writing it that have no idea about the Christian faith at all. Like they've just taken one like portion of it, like some outlandish thing, and that's like the lead character does something, right? Is a pastor or some kind of prophet or some kind of weirdness, right? And then the rest of the show is like not relevant to anything at all. And I guess the reason that irritated me is I thought, boy, they really think we're stupid. They really think we're dumb. That I see it's like, oh, a woman heard from God and now she's a prophet. They're talking to me. I like Jesus too.
I need to be saved.
And I thought, you know, like the network guys that look and they say, hey man, look at how popular that Bible miniseries was. Like, you know, when someone tried to serialize a little bit the Word of God, why don't we just get a woman prophet who like shines, and like that'll get those people. Then they'll watch the station.
And we'll make their cash.
And I thought, you know, and I'm generally not jaded. I don't expect a network television to like speak to me and my religious affiliation. But there was just a point when I saw the promo for like the third time, and I thought, man, that's offensive. That's
right.
That says, hey, idiot Christian, I've tailored a show for your stupidness.
Yeah, we're trying to meet you on your level.
Of course, now to be fair, they really do that with everybody. I mean, if they do
That's
a show
true.
about
That's
mechanics,
true.
they rarely have a super intelligent mechanic. You know, it's always they exaggerate everything, which is, you know, that's what acting is.
No, that's true. Like, in fact, the coolest priest on most shows is the one that hides whiskey in his desk.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like it's it's pretty rough times. He has to hit the bottle and even get through it.
While
you
he's
know?
playing the lottery.
Yeah.
I got it this time.
It's a chain smoking priest. I can relate to him.
He believes in God and has addictions. I can do that.
Yeah, I totally like a flawed man of the Lord.
Exactly.
That is true. They do that to everybody. That's
yeah.
true.
I mean, because
Yeah,
I
that's
kind of
true.
get upset sometimes too. Then I think, well, wait a minute. You know, if I never put myself in the shoes of you know, a school teacher or something.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're always like, you know, have the bun in the hair or something. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
every dad is an affable doofus who
Yeah,
has
yeah.
no control over his own house. His wife runs the show, and he's a dummy. Yeah, that's pretty. The mailman always wearing like completely tight shorts, a little weird. You know.
which goes back to, why do we watch this junk?
Uh,
I mean, they're
that's true.
insulting all of us.
Yeah.
And making our money.
Here's the thing:
Taking
is,
our money, I mean.
like how much do you put aside for comedy reasons, right? Like I'm willing to laugh at myself and think,
Yeah.
you know, but like I mean, sometimes the stereotypical version of me is kind of funny because there's truth in it, you know.
Yeah.
And so I guess it just depends on, you know, how far I'm willing to accept that. You know, I'm okay. You make fun of me, make fun of the people I know, maybe stereotype the guys around me. As soon as you start taking that's the hard thing, right? Because people get upset because you always take your religion so seriously. And I'm like, here's the deal. There's joy in Jesus, but the grace that I'm given is kind of important and kind of not that funny. You know, it's great and it's awesome, but it doesn't necessarily have to be poked fun at or made light of, right? And like that's where the line is, and that's where people get uncomfortable, right? Is when I stop laughing, when I'm like, you know, I'm willing, even the stereotypical depiction of like a Catholic priest. You know, there's always like the ones on the TV are always some kind of wild man, you know, or super uptight. You know, there's never one right in the middle, loving Jesus and doing good things. You know, he's either a drunk chain smoking guy that tries to relate to you and has been in the job for 30 years, or he's super uptight and stodgy. You know, and so I'm like, you know, there's dudes like that. That's kind of funny, but then they start making fun of Jesus, and I'm like, we're kind of done here.
Yeah,
you know, and
right.
then people are like, why are you know, why? That's ridiculous.
Where's the How about a hardy har har there, zealot?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Enjoy my comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Poke fun at human flaws, but you're poking fun at the savior of this world.
And that's just how, I mean, here's the thing. Jesus did a ton for me. I do very little on his behalf.
Exactly.
I feel like me sitting by laughing at the gift I've been provided is just a little, it's too far from me. I can't. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't like it, you know. And so that's what generally where my line is, and that's where people, you know, will lump you in the category as being conservatively unfun. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody gets to poke fun at their own religion, haha. Well, the people, sure. God's gift, no. I can't help you there. You know, that's kind of where it stops.
All right. So I don't know. I may not be watching the Save Me on the channel on the NBC.
No. I'm not watching TBN either. So, I mean, you know, that's not a statement across the board.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rough TV out there.
Yeah.
Either because it's just like not funny or just not. It's bad. Like it's just bad.
Here's the thing,
not
though.
good
It's
TV.
like I will take the same tact at religious programming that is shilling for money. You know what I'm saying? They take the gift that God has provided and they put a price tag on it and try to sell it to people. I'm equally disgusted by that I am the people that don't even know Jesus that are just trying to peddle comedy.
Remember, Mike, $1,000 gets you to apostle level.
And I will be an apostle. How do I buy my way into your graces, Jesus?
And I suppose to be fair, first of all, I've not seen the show.
No,
it's not started yet. It could be just mildly offensive to me, but just the promo itself, I just was slightly irritating. Anyway, feel free to check it out if you want to. Thursdays, May 23rd on NBC.
Our new sponsor.
Hey,
that might be a little interesting.
actually, the bad press might even join it for him. Maybe they could. Maybe they would sponsor the show. All right, you're listening to Live from the Path, coming at you every Monday night here at 10 p.m. at livefromthepath.org, or you can catch us on Saturdays at 7 p.m. on 99.3 KTAA. We do appreciate you hanging out with us. Hey, if you can, now listen, not if you can, you should visit the sponsors from Live from the Path. Those guys are awesome. They are what permit us to be on the air here on 99.3 KTAA. Not on the net. We get to broadcast on the net for free.
Absolutely.
There's no filter, no discernment. You can broadcast whatever you want on the net. That's what gets you on the triple on the net. You know what I'm talking about.
You now listen here, and if we have unedited bonus content on the net after the show at KTIA wraps up, if you want to go to livefromthepath.org and click on the podcast, you kind of go about an hour in. That's when the KTIA broadcast will end, and then anything after that is what I refer to as bonus content. Now,
Probably our finest work.
yeah, if the show was crappy, it's just an extension of the crappiness.
Yeah.
But if it's good and we got some stuff to talk about, that's where you're going to find all the meat and potatoes right there. So definitely go check that out. Sign up for the podcast. You can do that through the website. You can do it through iTunes. There's plenty of content out there, including our special interview with Silverside from a couple weeks ago. Brian Leach was on the show last week, or 2 weeks ago for the full show. We had a week last week, and then we had this week's lining up to be another stellar installment of Life from the Path. So go check that out at livefromthepath.org. Get us on the Facebook or the Twitter, and we send some stuff out there. We'd love to get a hold of you, talk to you, and heck, if you're not busy, just come on the show. Frankly, just hit us up on the Twitter. Just say, hey, I want to come in. We'll give you the address. You come in. If you're terrible, we'll say so. But if you're excellent, then we'll have you back in.
We might make him a sandwich.
Dan is probably not going to make a sandwich, but I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, Dad. I'm coming in next week.
Yeah, I'll be here next week.
Me and Boova would like a sandwich.
I'll see what I can do.
And if you've seen the sandwiches that I've eaten, there are.
When Dan raises eyebrows like that, he's trying to figure out how to retract. How do I take it back? How do I do it?
think.
Foot sandwich. That's my promise. I don't get him.
I did win the lottery this week.
Good to hear.
I did. I'm pretty pleased.
Like the.
Okay, Dan.
It was $7.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
I won the lottery.
All right, fair enough.
So it's coming up around the time of year where we're looking at people starting to graduate from high school, graduate from college. And generally this time of year, Live from the Path likes to do a quick roundtable on some advice for people that are leaving the what I like to call the fairyland and moving on to some real life.
what land?
The fairyland.
Fairyland.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, and move on to some real life, some stuff that maybe people haven't been telling you, things to be looking for, things to look out for, things to be praying about right now. So I think we're going to fire that off, and I think we're going to start with the person closest to that age, John Boova III. John Boova.
All right. Here is my tidbits of advice for college grads and high school grads. Realize that after you're leaving your school, obviously, as Mike called it, you're leaving your fairyland and you're about to hit the real world.
I meant it.
And Mike meant it. Realize that where you're going, you need to be praying about where God wants to put you. And I mean that in a sense where obviously you've probably got a place lined up. You know, you're either going back home or you got an apartment or everything like that. But realize that a chapter has just been closed in your life. You're about to start a new job. You may be actually going from high school to a new school. This is a key time of prayer. Realize that all times are a key time of prayer, but be praying about where God wants to put you. Be praying about the relationships you're going to be forming in either your new jobs, either your new home. Be rekindling relationships with people that you went to high school with or went to school with that you're finding again. The work relationships you're going to be creating. You need to be putting yourself as that light in that area, that lighthouse for God in that place. When I left high school, one of my biggest things that I wish I would have done is prayed for God to really use me in these situations and the places that I was being put into. So I left high school and went straight to a full-time job, and I wish I would have been praying, for God to use me in that job and to take me from one place, uproot me, put me into another, and really make me that light for God in that area. So that's my biggest advice to you, is make sure that you're following God's will. You're trying to line yourself with that as best as you can, making sure you're praying for God to really use you in the new circumstances and situations you find yourself in.
It's pretty solid. So here's what I would say is that the time period of adolescence or youth is a man-made time period. It's not real, right? There's not an actual time where you enter youth and then you leave youth, or you enter adolescence and leave adolescence. And so be careful not to let, and the same goes for the church. The church will do the same thing. Sometimes we have a youth group and I think, why? Why are you not in regular big man church living like a man or a woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's places for it. There's a place to have, a youth group. But like, and don't get me wrong, I help with the youth group, okay? But I think there's a common misconception that when you enter, like, say, 13 or 14, that you have a free pass until you're 24 to act like a donkey. You know what I'm saying? To act like a wild fool of a man or a woman, do whatever you want, and you'll straighten it out on the other end and get back to living for God. I actually asked some of the fellas in our youth group last week. I said, when did you plan on actually following Christ? When did you actually plan on following Jesus? And I thought, after you get out of college, you get kind of your job settled, you get a wife, you get a kid. When were you thinking about it? And they didn't know. Like, they couldn't answer. And then they kind of started to answer honestly. Well, maybe after our family gets kind of started, that's usually the time to get going back. And I thought, I kind of looked around the room and I said, you know why we have a hard time reaching your age group of people and your generation of believers? And one of the guys raised his hand and he said, yeah, because you guys are old. I said, you're darn right. That's exactly the answer I was looking for. Because by the time that I get to be 30s, early 30s, mid 30s, I have a job that I'm responsible for, a house I got to pay for, kids I got to love, wife I got to support. I have responsibilities that are tying me to, the choices that I've made, and frankly, they're blessings to me, right? And I'm not saying to avoid them, but like when Paul says, sometimes it might be better for you to be single. The years that I'm talking about are the ones where you're not tied down to a bunch of things. You have energy, you have passion, you have wits about you, you have all kinds of things that you can be doing for the glory of God and your joy, and you lump them into a category of, these are my mistake years. The years that I really screw things up, or the things that I walk away from God on a rubber band and I bounce back later. And like, don't be so foolish to buy into that. I don't care what your church has set up for you as a youth program, or what like your counselor or anybody else is giving you advice that labels you're in your period of adolescence and learning. You're a man now. You're a lady now. Just start acting like it. Do what Bova says. Pray, ask God where he wants you, and get walking there or running there. And don't wait for this mythical, stupid period of junk to basically rob you of 10 years of your life of actually getting something done when you're equipped spiritually, equipped mentally, and equipped physically to do them. They're right. By the time, look who's running our youth groups, 30s, 40s, 50-year-old guys, 50-year-old ladies, you know what I'm saying? And they don't relate to 20-year-old kids because they're old. They are old, but we lose the passion and the strength and the time and the availability to get a lot of stuff done for the body of Christ, because we give everybody 10 years of wasted time, right? Just don't buy into it. Just do me one favor and see what you're doing, and don't buy into the lie that you are not useful and that you cannot get anything done for the glory to God and your joy, because you're going to end up wasting 10 years and wish you had it back.
That was actually very similar to the advice that I was thinking, and basically I think it was your life has already started. Like the way that we have our education system set up is like somebody tells you what to do to start school, and they tell you what to do all the way up till you get to high school, and then you're supposed to go to college, and you got 4 more years of somebody telling you what to do, and then now all of a sudden you're out, and like you don't know what to do with yourself, and your life already started. It started 15 years ago. There isn't a transition period. There isn't a waiting time. There isn't like 5 years to kind of dink around and figure out what you want to do with yourself. Like, so I get that. Like, there's times where you really don't know and you're trying stuff out. But like, recognize that even during that time, your life has already started. That's a choice that you're making. Your life began. And when you want to look at your life and say, here's what I want to do with my life, people are always talking as if their life continues 10 years in the future, that there's a long-term plan. You're going to wake up and you're going to be wrinkly and 70 and have done nothing in your life that you wanted to do because you were looking forward to a life that never started, because you don't recognize that it actually started 50 years ago. And so I guess that would be the thing. It's very similar advice, which is just, recognize that when you're graduating from this thing, be it college or be it high school or whatever, when you wake up the next morning, your life has already begun. You're already in the transition for it, and you get to make the choice that day what you will do with your life, what you're going to do, where you're going to go, what your goals are, who you will serve. And that has already started. You made that decision yesterday, and you can look back at your choices and say, did that reflect the right choice or not? You get to remake that decision today. You get to change everything if you want to, and every second and every breath gives you the chance to change a direction that you don't want to be going. And to start moving in a way that you want to, but your responsibility, I guess, needs to feel correct when it is that's your life. You are living your life right now. It is not happening tomorrow. It is not happening 5 years or 10 years from now. Your life is already rolling. You're in it at the moment. Live it. Live it how you want to live it. Live it how you know it's supposed to be lived, instead of waiting. Well, I'll start that thing tomorrow. I'll start reading my Bible tomorrow. I'll start following God tomorrow. You're really betting on the grace of God that you last another day. And the thing is, most of those folks that say, like, I'll go out 10 years and then I'll come back when I start my family, you're betting on the grace of God for 10 years that you're going to survive all that foolishness that you decided you were going to hook up with for 10 years and then try to pull back from. And you know what? The thing that you're going to regret the most is you're going to get 10 years down the road, and like I said, by the grace of God, you make it, you start raising a family, and you start really developing and getting into your relationship with Christ, and you're going to look back at those past 10 years and go, man, what a waste. I could have been following Christ. I could have been living a life that glorifies Him over those last 10 years, and it made everything that I have right now that much better. And it will be a regret because you decided you weren't going to wait to start living your life. So it was very, very, very similar advice.
Yeah.
My mind's coming right along that same line. What I always think of in this setting is someone somewhere along the line told me this, and it just really stuck with me. Of course, it's in the scripture that life is a vapor, that it just goes by so quickly. It's just bam, 5 years goes by, 10, 15, 20. And when you're young, you're thinking, oh man, I remember when I'll be old, I'll be like 35. You just think it's so far in the distance future, but all of a sudden you're just there, and it just pops up on you, bang. And every stage of your life, it goes through quickly. And I've talked to so many people in nursing homes who are, in their, I don't know how old they are, I don't ask them how old they are, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, and they're still like 20 in their mind, unless they've lost their mind. That's a different setting. But they're sitting there, and they might be in a wheelchair, except for that. No, but mentally, they look in the mirror and they're still shocked that they're old, because they're just the same person they were. Like you say, you're already living it. Get out there and do it. Don't, and especially in the area of faith. There is no reason at all to do the 10-year thing or wait. Oh, I'm going to go through my college years and do what I want. Man, that's like you said. That's the productive time. I think of Joseph in the Old Testament. He was a young man who was a godly guy. I think of Daniel in the Old Testament, a young man who was a godly guy. Look, he helped shape a nation because he just stood his ground and believed in his God, and he did it as a young man. And so, don't wait. Just live all out, 100% for God. You don't know when He's coming back. You don't know when He's calling you home. Either way, you want to be ready and do it.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll say some prayers. I know I've been praying for the graduates around me and the people heading out to do some life. But frankly, the way I look at it, you've already been fooled to think that this graduation thing's a big hairy deal. You've wasted 2 years up until this, where you could have been getting some real stuff done, and it just happens to be a door you're walking through and not a curtain that's been unveiled. Right? I fell under the same foolish derision. You know what I'm saying? Graduating high school, yes, it's a big deal. You know what? There's a lot of people that graduate high school. You know what I'm saying? You're moving along. It's part of your path. But like, if that's where your path starts after graduation, you're 2 years behind already. Get moving. Find something to do.
Yep. You're listening to Live Path. Mike, go ahead.
Dear Live from the Path. Here's the thing. Please settle a family disagreement. A scratch ticket is given to a friend or relative as a gift. If that ticket is a winner, is there an expectation that the winnings should be shared with the person who gave the ticket?
No.
It's a gift.
Absolutely not. Gift.
If I give you a bag of popcorn, I don't expect half the popcorn back.
Is it good though? Because I think I should have.
Yeah, but what if the popcorn produced 10 more bags? That's not
great.
It's
Good
not
for
an
you.
apples to apples example. Like someone gives you the popcorn, 10 more bags fly out.
If I give you an apple seed, I don't expect you a bushel of apples every year.
Yeah, if I give you a puppy, I don't expect 5 years down the road for you to give me a puppy if it comes out. If it has more puppies later.
I don't think you guys are. I mean, it'd be gracious if someone gave you.
Yeah,
a
it'd
puppy.
be cool. Is it an expectation?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Here's the answer. Secular says a gift is a gift. There is no obligation to share. Alexander Pope wrote, "Hope springs eternal in the human breast." Right on. But if you were
I don't
hoping,
get it.
Very timely. Excellent advice.
Alexander Pope.
but if you are hoping you'll get a cut of the money, don't hold your breath. That was unnecessary.
Now, I would probably, as the recipient, would probably give a little back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd give it a
I
money.
would probably
Yeah.
give a little back.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect it.
No,
I would secretly expect it, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Dan would secretly be thinking, "Hey,
I wouldn't say anything, and it wouldn't ruin the relationship. I just think, gosh, they have
Dan.
$600 million, and I gave it to them.
10% is like 60 million."
At least buy
That's
me
all
a
I'm
car.
saying.
What? 10 bags of popcorn, please.
Up to $10,000 gift is non-tax deductible. Come on.
Alexander Pope overdid it on the estrogen pills. That's what's going on at his place.
Exactly.
Here's the deal. I really want to say breast.
I need something that sounds like wisdom.
I needed something to sound like wisdom and say breast.
It's the pornography in the 16th century.
Dear Live from the Path, I doubt this will be answered, but I am desperate.
No, we'll answer.
I have been dating this awesome guy for 3 months.
Dump him.
He, he is really sweet, and I feel like it's going somewhere. The problem is I lied to him. He's well educated, and he continuously encourages me to further my education. He thinks I'm a college grad, when in reality, I am 3 credits short of a diploma. I plan to finish this summer. Should I come clean, or should I let him think what he thinks?
You gotta come clean.
Yeah,
Yes,
just tell
just-
him.
If it's I'm not even gonna go deep into if it starts with this,
What's
but
he gonna do? Oh, I haven't quite finished. I got one more class to go. Idiot! Like, what?
you buffoon! How dare you lie to me? I feel like the guy's just gonna be like, "All right,
Why don't you finish that
why
up?
don't you finish that up then?"
Stay away from the bank account. You're no longer around to the grocery bills.
3 months I've been
3
connected
months
to
in.
a dunce.
You're not a graduate.
Here's the deal. If he takes that poorly, he may not be the awesome man you
Yeah.
envision him
Yeah,
to be.
true.
That's an appropriate filter. A guy that gets upset about that has got to chuck.
But it's a good time to fess up and say, hey, here's the deal. I was silly. I was trying to impress you. It was a mistake. I just want to tell you, honestly, yeah, I need another class.
Yeah, I'm 3 credits shy. I'm almost done.
What, are you not gonna invite him to your really super late graduation when you finish in summer?
Yeah, like he's not gonna notice. Where are you going? I'm going to the store for about 4 or 5 hours in this gown. Can I borrow that hat?
I have yoga for the next 8 hours for the next couple months.
Hey, you're on the front page of the college paper. Yeah, I had a funny day.
Yeah.
Funny day.
It was interesting. I was just walking through and reminiscing about my days here. And
Yeah, I found your old college diploma. It has yesterday's date on it.
Yeah, they forgot to give it to me.
I just like.
it just got
I had to
mailed.
pay my bill.
I forgot to pay them the fees so they could send it to me.
There's
They
a
had
parking
to,
ticket.
It was a notary kind of deal. It's just
I just love tassels. Don't talk about me like that. Who doesn't like tassels?
13. I thought you graduated in 12. It's not a big deal.
Well, I tell you what, there's some silly people in here today. Okay, here we go. Secular says, I think you'd feel better if you cleaned the air, and if you do, I'm sure he will respect you for having the character to do so. Explain that in your eagerness to impress him, you didn't mention that you're 3 credits short of graduating, but you'll have them by autumn. Make sure you qualify that you are going to get them and not a bum. That might be unnecessary. If it's a deal breaker, I'd be surprised, but it would mean he wasn't the man for you.
You're listening to Live from the Path. If you're on 99.3, we got to let you go. If you want to listen to more content, go to livefromthepath.org. You can check out the bonus content from this week's show. We will see you next week. Thanks for listening to Live from the Path.
Life is hard sometimes.
Okay, go ahead.
Dear Life from the Path, I took care of my husband for 10 years before his death from early onset Alzheimer's. I'm in a relationship now, and I'm finding that a widow's status is far different than that of a wife. Not long ago, I was invited to a friend's daughter's wedding. When I asked if I could bring Sam, I was told, no, we don't know him, and there are a lot of other people we'd like to invite. I got the same response from my first cousin when I asked if I could bring Sam to her son's wedding. No, we don't have room for him, and we don't know him. Abby, dear Life from the Path, Sam and I are a couple. He is not a casual boyfriend. Surely if we were married, he would be invited. Please tell me what is proper when inviting a widow to a wedding or other event. I find the responses I received from my friend and relative to be insensitive and hurtful. From Widow Stands Alone.
You know, if I'm inviting Troy to my wedding, and there's honestly not that much room, I might not invite your girlfriend.
And
Although I can't imagine not, but I mean,
I feel like I'm not the person to get offended about that because I'd be like, well, all right.
Okay.
Have a good day,
She's
Tessa.
only
Got a
known you
wedding
for
to
little while. I've
attend.
known you a lot longer.
I'll see
Yeah.
you in 6 hours. I promise.
Yeah.
So I just okay. So I feel like she's thinking that it's going to be different if she were still married, and I don't see. Maybe I'm just looking at it from the wrong standpoint because I don't see that the cousin is doing something wrong. I don't see that the friend is doing something wrong. I don't see the problem.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty standard affair that if you're going to bring a +1, that the invitation says +1.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're seriously worried about the count of people, that's why it says +1. They don't know who you're going to bring, right?
Right.
Like especially if you're a single person, you could bring your drunk college buddy. You know, it's your +1. It'd bring you and a buddy in case the party stinks. You got somebody to talk to. And so, like, if on both occasions, it should be squared away. So, like, if you receive an invitation, right, and you're worried that Sam is not going to be accepted, which seems to be the pattern, you call and say, hey, is this invitation a +1? And if they say, it depends, who are you bringing, then you're not going, right? Because it shouldn't depend, because then the amount of people doesn't really matter. They just want to judge your buddy and your new husband or your new boyfriend. So, like, drop out of that.
Maybe Sam's a creeper.
Yeah,
That's all I'm thinking.
That's actually, I'm agreeing with that.
Yeah.
Two in a row that just happen to not have room for Sam.
I feel like there's a chance Sam's a creeper.
He's a creeper.
Now,
Yeah, he's an old guy creeper. Like I'm not. I think he might be a creeper. There's a good chance. There's a reason Sam is the crutch point where he's not allowed.
No.
I like
All I'm saying.
Sam.
There's a chance that Sam's a creeper.
What? There is a chance Sam's a
I
creeper.
think it's a big chance.
But
big chance.
but tell me that there's not a little odd feeling when especially like one of your grandparents have been in a relationship for say 40 years, 50 years, and one passes away and then someone else shows up. There is a little bit of apprehension. Like, I'm sure you love this person. I don't know them.
I'd probably go, oh, that's cute. You bring him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like
maybe.
these people honestly cared about that person in that aspect.
He would have to be a huge creeper for everyone to know he's that big
That's
of a
what
creeper.
I'm saying.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
he's a
saying.
big
Huge creeper.
Like, me
there's
and Boover are in agreement here.
Yeah, there's a good chance this guy is just super duper creepy.
2 weddings in a row. Like, that
And
defies
totally
odds.
undifferent. So one's relative, right? So one's relative, which they would know about Grandpa, and they would know who Sam is most likely. The other one's just a friend. So no, I have to see Grandpa there. No relation of it's weird because Grandpa James isn't here. It's a friend saying no, you can't come. You can't bring Sam. I'm thinking Sam's a creeper.
You know what though? I didn't know at least half of the people at my wedding. All of Cheryl's side of stuff.
Yeah,
I
feel
don't-
like
I don't even know who was at my wedding. I don't care if there's a creeper. If they're
I
gonna
feel like
bring
as
a
long
gift, I'll
as
take it.
someone was +1 or
Creeper
invited
gift.
in some way, shape, or form, and not just some drunk dude off the streets, I don't think the bride or groom are going to notice,
Hey.
wait a minute, I don't know that person. They're not allowed here.
Hold on. Just a quick question. If there's a creeper at your wedding, what do you think they bring for a gift? I think I know what it is.
Adult Uno.
Okay, you're right. That's creepy.
Yeah, see?
I was thinking adult password.
I was thinking underpants.
These
Body
used to
oils.
be mine, Mr. Hudson.
Here's what I thought.
A massage lotion basket.
I thought it was one of those guys that's got the squeeze thing, like where you squeeze and he drops his pants and gives the moon. That's what I think the creeper
I feel like that's
brings.
not the creepy.
Now, hold on. Listen here. I agree with the chat. You guys are being too hard on Sam.
Nah, Sam's creeper.
Whether he's a creeper or not. He could
Sam should come.
Listen, it's
Plush
hard.
toy.
Think
Moon.
about how hard it is to get into a new situation with new people you've never met. Think of it from Sam's perspective, right? He's trying to basically he knows one person of the family. It's like being introduced to your in-laws for the first time when you're 19, right? It's a creepy day, and whether you're 19 or 95, it's weird to get moved into that situation. I feel like they're being unusually harsh on Sam.
So I had this situation happen 2 months ago. I met Tessa's mom. Sorry for everyone on the show. Tessa's my girlfriend. I met my girlfriend's mom through
My girlfriend,
wedding.
who is a lady.
At our wedding.
Well, yes. Sorry, I was justifying it. I met her through their wedding. If she would have said, I really don't want him there. Tessa, yes, you can come. Can you bring a friend that I know as the plus one? I wouldn't have been offended. I really wouldn't have. I'd have been like, okay.
Huh, what am I gonna do with this moon man doll?
What am I gonna do with this lavender body lotion set? Like what's going on here? I'm not. Well, I might use it.
I had Kohl's package it up for me.
Hey, they offered a free gift wrap, man. This looks legit. No,
All I had to do was buy 2 pairs of jeans. Free.
Sam's a creeper.
Okay, I don't think Sam's a creeper. I'm going to disagree. Dan Hudson.
Wrong.
I like Sam.
Sam seems all right. Here we go. Secular says, it is considered a breach of etiquette to ask to bring a guest to an expensive event like a wedding if only you have been invited. If that option were open, your invitation would have been addressed to Mary Smith and guest. It's likely that money constraints dictated the guest list be limited at both these weddings. If this happens again, it's up to you to decide whether witnessing the event is more important than your discomfort. Some people would skip the reception because sitting around listening to music and watching couples having a great time on the dance floor is too depressing.
Hey, Sam's a lush,
So
Sam's a drunk.
and they got open bar.
They got open bar. They know he's gonna grab the bottle.
when my daughters get married, I'm gonna have a $50 reservation fee. It's gonna be great.
Dan,
And we're gonna have mints and nuts.
I'm a friend of
Dan,
yeah.
I want
wanna
to
pay for it.
celebrate this with your family. I
I
don't
want
want
you
to go.
to too. I don't want to pay for it.
I'm just saying, like I'm friends with both your daughters, and I'm not paying for
Pay
either.
up, buddy.
No.
All right.
All right, Live from the Path will be hosting their own reception for the Hudson girls.
For the Hudson girls. Hey, I have DJ equipment. I got it.
Yeah, and so I feel like we're not inviting Dan because of his curmudgeon attitude.
He's a creeper.
Danielle's like, yeah, can I bring Dan along? Well, we don't really know Dan.
Whose underwear is this?
Hey, actually, you know what'd be pretty cool in those invitations if they sent it out was like Mary Smith and guest except for Sam. No creepers.
No lush, no creeper, no Sam.
Okay, Mike. Go
Oh
ahead.
boy. Okay, here we go. We got one more here. I'm trying to pick out the best one here. Here we go. Dear Live from the Path, I'm a 40-something divorced female. After my divorce, that's right. After my divorce, I met a man I enjoyed being with. He led me to believe he cared for me, and I bought into it. It was a vulnerable time for me, and unfortunately, I let my guard down. I did something stupid and co-signed for a student loan for him.
Oh man.
Okay,
She must be 3 credits shy.
here's the big shocker. He has stopped making payments.
Oh, buddy.
He's blocked my calls, and he moved.
Oh,
And now I'm stuck with the financial burden. I've learned that he had a fiance while we were involved, and they are now married. He was bilking me the whole time. I need to know what legal recourse I have. Obviously, I don't know the advice columnist at the newspaper is the best legal resource, but
Yeah.
continuing on. I know where he lives and possibly where he works, so if he needs to be served with papers, I can find him. I regret that I didn't keep my guard up and don't feel he should get away with this. What should I do now?
He got away with it.
yeah, he totally
You
got
just
away with
gotta. You learn. You pay it. You're gonna hate it. It's a bummer. You signed for it. You signed the paper.
You know what? You should give him your tunic as well.
That's the risk. Yeah.
Go over there and give him $20. Take
I don't
congratulations.
co-sign anything. I'm kind of a bad dad. I didn't co-sign for my own daughter.
Hey Dan, I'm looking to get a place soon.
I don't care.
No. Right. Yeah, no, you're out of luck. You shouldn't have done it. Yes, you're in a vulnerable place, but you put yourself out there. You may have been vulnerable, but you weren't absent-minded.
Yeah, here's the thing. People are not near creative enough in these type of situations, right? Their first jump is to an expensive attorney, right? I would take a bottle of weed killer and write, "You owe me money" on his front grass, and then 2 days later, when that specific writing is dead, then he will know that I am onto him owing me money, and I will bring the tornado of fury to his place and his new marriage until he starts paying his bills. Vengeance.
The
I don't know if I go that
gets
far.
it and you go to jail.
No.
It's true.
You're not thinking this right. So here's what you do: is you subscribe to some risque magazines in his name, and have them sent to his house.
I feel like this is a very childish way to attack this.
Here's the thing.
I mean, like Teapots Unlimited, like something where like stuff that he wouldn't otherwise be looking at. I mean,
so if you think you know where the man lives,
yeah.
I would say there's no restraining order. Go over there.
Take one of his tires.
Do not take one of his tires.
Hey, okay, wait a minute.
Go over there
Hold on.
as an adult, first off, because
It's not going to
With
work.
pictures.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's not going to work, but at least you can show, yes, I have made a conscious effort to get this resolved, to get this taken care of.
Okay, no.
I didn't write, "You owe me money" in weed killer on his front lawn.
You're just being
I
ridiculous.
didn't throw a brick through his front door.
That would be a good conversation with the wife.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's
new
the
fiance,
documents.
That's what I'm thinking.
Here's some photos of our dating time together.
Text messages, phone calls.
Look at
This
this.
is what
It's when
happened.
you guys were
Here is my
engaged.
name
Oh, I
on
have
his
another
student
idea.
loan at the time you guys were dating.
Here, hold on. Listen to my other idea. You put that glass etching liquid inside of his windshield washer tank, so when he goes to spray his windshield washer, it will actually etch the glass in the foam that it's sprayed.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
He'll be in a real pickle.
Yeah.
Check this out. This requires no dishonesty or vandalism. You write a love letter, what looks like a love letter to him from you, and say, like, you romanticize the agreement you made. It's like, remember that time that we spent together, really entwining our lives, coming together financially, things like that. Things. Yeah. I said teapots, teapot magazines.
Oh no.
Basically, a lady co-signed, just a refresher for the chat, a lady co-signed student loans with another guy, and then he just split and married another woman.
Yeah.
And now she's stuck with the student loans. We're trying to figure out the appropriate way to handle it.
Okay.
He was engaged to her while they were dating.
Yeah.
Right?
We've been answering this fictitiously for the last 2 minutes. The real answer
feel
is
like I did.
you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay the loan, and then
Yeah.
that's the long and short of it. You're not gonna taking him to court. I suppose you could if you wanted to. I frankly, just to be done with it, I would just accept responsibility for the loan. You made a bad decision. Keep paying. Now the etching glass liquid inside the windshield washer, that's an option. Maybe not a good one. Maybe the weed killer. I think that's all right. I thought about doing that before, actually.
I feel like you made the legal decision to sign it. You pay.
He didn't make you do it.
No.
You want to do one more here? I got time for one more.
Yeah, okay, do one more.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. What was the secular advice?
Oh, come on, Ben.
I'm actually interested in this one.
Secular says, it appears you have been the victim of a fraud. If I were you, the first thing I do is share his address with the loan company. Then I discuss the matter with the police to find out if he has a history of bilking women and if I could file charges. If that isn't possible, the next thing I do is talk with a lawyer about any legal remedies available to me. And that's what I'm advising you to do.
All right.
Not bad advice.
No, I just don't hear any personal responsibility in that answer. Like, hey, I agree. Here's the thing, and we as Christians do this a lot, right? Like, it's very noble for you to say, I'm a sinner, and I do sinful things, right? But you don't really ever own up to it or repent of your ways. You're just a big man in front of others because you're willing to admit that
For the
you're...
person, who says, I take full responsibility.
Yeah, except for
All
if
right,
it
next.
requires me to do anything, because then I'm not in.
I just like to say it. It's a big word.
Here we go. Last one. Dear Life from the Path, I am the mother of a 5-year-old daughter. I'll call her Mandy. If that was her name, that'd be helpful. If not, your relationship with your daughter is weakened. Her father and I separated when she was 16 months old, and now we are divorced. I'm newly engaged to a wonderful man and very happy. I've just learned that my ex is having a baby boy with a woman he has stated he does not love and isn't even in a committed relationship with. I would like to protect Mandy from any pain this might cause her because she is a daddy's girl. Whew. How should I deal with this and maintain my composure regarding the sibling who will now forever be part of my daughter's life?
So I'm going to say this from this standpoint, and you guys, as normal, feel free to disagree with me. I would say I wouldn't immediately try and take the new child out of your daughter's life. I understand that you want to protect your daughter as much as possible. The whole daddy's girl thing that you threw out there. You want to protect Mandy and make sure that she's safe, she's loved, she's cared for. But at the same time, you're really putting a lot of the father's negative connotations on this new child. So I'm not saying that you have to adopt this kid, bring him into your home, and treat him, as like literally adopt them legally. I'm saying that it's not fair to the new kid to immediately strike him out of your life, strike him out of your heart entirely, just because of the father and mother's mistakes. That's my thoughts on it.
Here's the problem. When these questions come up, I can't ever get past the fact that I'm so mad at the man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That I can't even get to the real advice, right? I feel bad that two women and 2 kids have now been victim to a foolish adolescent who has impregnated ladies and not treated them appropriately and not loved them as God has instructed, which now produces 2 separate families with the same crap dad.
Yeah, guy's a joke.
And so... Yep. This is hard, right? Because I can't ever get past the fact of you need to go find yourself a good Christian man that will go over and punch the man with the love of Jesus and straighten him out. You know what I'm saying? But like here's the long and short of it is they are basically both kids without a good spiritual guiding father, and so you take this new kid, you look at it as an opportunity that God has placed to give you. The ability to show the child love, especially if the mother is only to find out here in the near future that the man that claims that he was going to take care of her and love her is not going to do that. You both have fallen victim to the same doofus, and understanding her situation, you might be very well be the person to show that family love and support, and get started there, right? And I don't know. I don't know what you do about the guy. I don't know what you do about the guy. He's the father of the kid. He has to be involved. But boy, I would guard her spiritual walk very, very
closely.
Exactly.
The dad is going to let her down at some point, so she needs to let her have that relationship, but also kind of temper it by saying, "Hey, nobody's perfect," without even talking down specifically her dad. But at the same time, really nurture the relationship with her. She's marrying someone else, or engaged, or she's in another relationship. I thought it sounded serious. Let that relationship flourish. And at some point it won't hurt so bad. I mean, she'll at some point look at this guy and say, "Yeah, he's kind of a creep." She'll get that at a certain age.
She'll get it. Just like everybody does when they go through the Bible and realize that they're talking about me in here.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm that guy Jesus is talking to. Eventually, enough things will roll by and enough examples of maybe what a dad should be representing, and you'll go, "There's something just a little bit off here."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think she needs to tear him down or even keep her away or anything like that. But do some good, solid Bible teaching.
Secular's answer was, it is not appropriate to show your disgust with this situation to your daughter. Because your ex has gone on record that he doesn't love the woman he impregnated and he is not in a committed relationship with her, you may be worrying needlessly. He will have a financial obligation to his son, but whether he's willing to be a father in the best sense of the word, we don't know. If Mandy interacts with her half-brother, she will have to learn to share, which is an important life lesson every child must learn sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of obvious, I guess. That's kind of obvious. Frankly, sometimes it's hard to bring the second kid always causes trouble for the first one. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think ultimately the advice is you can only do what you can do, right? Like, you're not married to this guy anymore. He's going to do what he's going to do. You can control what you can control. So be honest. Try to protect their innocence as much as you can to the extent that it doesn't set them up for future failure. And then move on with your business.
Yeah, agreed.
You're listening to Live from the Path. You can catch us every week here on Monday nights at livefromthepath.org at 10 p.m. if you want to join us for the live chat. If you're listening right now, you're either on the website or sign up for the podcast. Thanks for doing that. We appreciate you listening to us. Keeps us from feeling lonely and cold in the dark doldrums of this room. I'd give you a kiss, but I don't believe in it.
We're going to go.
Have a good night.